It's not your fault. And don't tell people that, first of all. I'm new here.
I was wrong. What are you going to do about it?
Hey, this is Kelly Donahue Bureau. How can I help you? I hate the how can I help you.
All right. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm in Salem, Oregon, in case no one's ever been.
There you go. I've never been myself. I actually just got on the phone with a client in Oregon.
Oregon. And I'm joined here with the mayor, Keith Sharon, who is in Maumelle, Arkansas.
For today. And then I head to Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge tomorrow. And we're all talking about our customer service things that drive us nuts because it's our WOW customer service course launch. We're really like this because it's kind of like the baseline skills I think every service professional needs. And I really believe in it because Keith, you've had the pleasure of traveling now for about a year with APP. And so when you're traveling, do you notice little things like the difference in customer service some places, like whether it's restaurants or hotels? Like, have you picked up on that stuff yet?
Oh, 100%. And I kind of picked up and adopted your bougie culture as well, as far as that goes, and what I expect in good customer service versus reality of customer service.
Yeah, it's like the littlest things can make a big difference.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know, like you don't think about it, but like when you check in a hotel and they give you like a bottle of water, like this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
You don't have to find a basic, like keeping me alive necessity right now.
Yeah. The best is that, like, for you, it's Marriott, what do they call the Marriott? But at Hilton, when you Diamond member, you show up and there's this basket full of stuff in your room. And it's like a little note that says, "We welcome you to the." I'm like, ah. It's just really cool. And again, it's little things that probably cost them $3, but it makes me feel like I take a picture every time I send it to my wife. It's like, look at all the candy I got. Ah.
Yeah, it's only good though. Like you're trying now, Marriott one update and they have in your profile, like if you're trying to eat healthy, that the peanut M&Ms don't land in your room, which I appreciate
Right?
more. Just for the record, I appreciate more. You could give me like a bottle of sparkling water and like a granola bar, and then I will still make my way down and find the peanut M&Ms. But you don't need to put them directly in my like.
Right.
Yeah, so that don't be
The only thing, yeah, the only thing worse would be they just feed them to you like grapes. But
or there's like peanut M&Ms and Doritos, and then I have an even bigger cup. Like it.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
your Doritos. Yeah, I get it. So for me, it's always Swedish fish. I always get the
you like
Swedish
the gummy. Yeah,
Oh,
the
I
gummy bear. Yeah.
I do. I love a bear of those. But anyhow, so yeah, you're right. Going back to your original question, though, you can tell the customer service, even from the flights, the airlines. There's certain airlines I won't do because you can just tell, their stewardesses are, and they call stewardesses, always forget. Stewardess,
Flight attendants.
flight attendants, my bad.
Attendant.
Linda may have to edit that. But anyway, our flight attendants, you can tell the ones that are good and the ones that are not. The ones that are trained to greet you a certain way and the ones that aren't. Anyway, it's just good. I agree.
Yeah. So I think like in insurance, we train customer service team members on the management system and the carrier website and like how to take a payment. But we don't really train them on like what to say during taking a payment or
Right.
how to nurture that client, because most people don't call into their insurance agency because they're excited. They're calling because there's a problem or a question or a concern. And so I just think it's so important that we stop for a second and realize, hey, there's real people out there. There's real things. How do we make them feel so special every single day? And that takes intention and training, in my opinion.
No, you're right.
So we kind of came up with, for this blog, dun, 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 10 things to never say on a customer service call in insurance.
Right.
And I have it up in my hands because I don't recall all 10. Actually, I try to block them out because sometimes I get really mad when I hear certain things. And I think one of the things that I find happens is insurance agencies, we build processes around what's most convenient for us versus the client.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So like it's most convenient for us to just take the payment and not talk about EFT. But really, if the client knows that that's an option, we might get more people on it, right? Like all of our
Right.
processes can be, or we email things when they should be a phone call. Like that's one of those things that kind of irritates me. It's like not everything should be an email. And I hear all the time people say, well, I like the email and I can document it and I cover my butt. And I'm like, customer service is not about covering your butt.
Right.
Like talk
Or
to the person and do it after.
Or they assume what the customers do and don't want. They don't want to do it that way. They've always liked to bring their check in here. They like to sit down with me and have coffee. Well, maybe not. If you offer them an EFT option, they might like it.
Yeah, well, then it's like maybe you like not doing that versus doing kind parts of jobs, but that's okay. That's all right. So why do you think in agencies and I mean, you ran an agency, you ran a couple agencies, like why in the agencies do we sometimes not train our customer service team? What does that look like? Why is it like a struggle? Why do we focus so much on just the baseline of like, hey, how to handle this carrier website versus what to say to our customers? Because I could debate that what to say to our customers is more important. We can figure out what to do off the phone later on if we need to.
Sure. Well, I think it starts, at least the agencies, from my opinion, I think a lot of it starts and stops with perception versus reality. I think when you talk to agencies from the very jump and you ask them about their agency, they all say, we're really good at customer service. But the reality is they're not, especially this day and age. So many things with customer experience being a big buzzword right now. People are looking at that more often. I always tell people when they say that and I start asking for examples, it's like, okay, really is returning a phone call customer service. You're just doing your job.
Right.
Or as, doing this really customer service or just doing your job. And I'm not calling anybody out particularly, but those agencies out there.
I definitely do. And I think that we have to set those bars. Like,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about my love affair with Delta.
Yeah. Everyone knows this.
Everyone knows my love affair with Delta. I get kind of sad when I have to fly another airline, and it happens sometimes. But like, I think I've kind of indoctrinated you a little bit into the Delta way of doing. You were like an American person,
Yeah.
and like, do you see a difference when you fly one versus the other?
Oh, 100%. Here's my one caveat, and it doesn't matter to you, but to me, American Airlines planes are like there's more leg room. But as far as like the customer service side of it, you're right. Delta hands down
Gotta
is
get upgraded a bit more, Heath. You gotta fly a little more.
I know, but I'm looking out for my customers' money. I'm
Yeah, when
kidding.
you get upgraded, it's free.
That's true. That's true. No, I wouldn't seriousness though. But back to the Delta way of doing things. Yeah, they're definitely catered more to the business clients. They're catered more to the higher end, upper echelon type, whatever. They make you feel like that anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other airlines are not. And that's in the agency world too. Some agencies, you just know when you call in, you're going to get treated like $1,000,000. And then sometimes you don't want them to dread calling your agency.
No, I almost think that there's dread, that's just bad customer service, but I could also argue that just like meh customer service, like
Yeah, man, it's a good one.
meh, meh face is like like you have this opportunity to leave this positive impact on your client with a product that people don't love talking about, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
"Wow, it was a really great call," or just meh. Okay, fine. It got done when I need to get done, but there was nothing that left me impressed. And I think that that's the difference we're talking about. Like the top agencies are trying to be impressive in their customer service,
Yep.
not just, okay, I changed the vehicle. Sure, you changed the vehicle, but do we take the time to document like little things about? I always say, like, if you got me, you'd be like, Kelly glides every week. Her dog's name is America. Imagine we go buy a new truck, which we did a few weeks ago. We say, oh, how exciting a new truck. How's America going to like the truck? Have you got her in is she able to jump in? That's a big truck. I'll be like, whatever the cost of the new truck is, that's okay.
Right.
Just ask me about my dog.
Bingo. 100%.
So
That's right.
easy.
Yeah.
So easy, right?
Yep.
Um,
Agreed.
so we have our list here, the 10 things, right? I thought it'd be kind of fun to say on this list, what are the top two that you hate the most when you hear?
Okay. I've got one that's not necessarily on the list, I don't think.
Okay.
So if you want to stick to the list,
You don't have to stick first. You can
here's one of the things, and you correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a minute, but what I don't like to hear, I start this off. I kind of stole this from you a little bit, but I said this in my own agency too in the early days of when you answer the phone, starting off the phone call with, "Hey, this is Kelly Donahue Bureau. How can I help you?" I hate the "How can I help you?" because again, it gives away control. And so that's one of the things. I don't know if it's on your list or not, but I definitely think it's something that you
That's not.
shouldn't say on a call.
It's not on the list, but it could be.
Because again, don't you agree? I think I may have stolen that from you. It gives away control.
Well, that and it's like depending on who's if like you're truly just there to direct the phone call, right? If you say, "How can I help you?" The person's gonna tell you all the things. Then you have to get them the right
Yep.
person. Now it's them again. It's like, "How can I make
Yeah.
the best call of your day?" Or "It's a great day at XYZ agency. How can I direct your call?" Like you just have to be creative. If you may not be the person that's going to help them. right? So when you say, how can I help?
Right.
You're saying, I need to make my payment. Here's my routing number. Hold on, I don't do that. Then you got to go there and you put it back there. You need to kind of figure out what they need quickly and get that information and go from there.
The other one I would say I don't like is let me see if I can get that approved.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that that just says lack of confidence, right? It's not a plan. It's very super vague. Where
It definitely doesn't give them confidence in you. You're right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just agreeing with you.
I think it doesn't do that. And then I also just want to say, like, what you can say is, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to contact the underwriter and find out what our next steps are going to be. Like that sends much more control. That says, I'm got a plan. We're going to figure this out together. I'm on your team. Let me see if I can get that approved. Is like, we'll see.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what I can do.
Hey,
Take a look.
that's a cute request. Let me see what I can do. Okay. You know, like, and I think a lot of the things on this list, by the way, are legit. It's all how you deliver them. Like one of the ones on here that I'm particular, there's probably two on here that drive me the most nuts. They all drive me nuts, and I'm pretty vocal about this, and people are gonna like turn up the podcast because you hear me talk about this. Like the apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry your rate went up. I'm sorry your claim was
Yeah.
denied. I'm sorry you
It's
haven't.
not your fault.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had a late fee.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. When we apologize, we admit guilt, right? So now the claim in the back of your head is like, yeah, my rate shouldn't have gone up. I was wrong. What are you going to do about it? I understand that a lot of us were trained because I was trained that way. Like you're polite, you need to be polite. That calms people
Yeah.
down, but it doesn't. And if all day long, all you're doing is apologizing, how much do you love your life? How good of customer service are
You
you giving?
definitely don't.
No, and if you apologize at every phone call, you can't be giving great customer service because you're apologizing all day. I like to say that I screw up so many things. I need to reserve my apologies from when I truly
I won't ask Andrew.
no, I do. He'll tell you I'm perfect.
Right? Of course he will.
Because he knows better. Got him trained.
Right. There's too many people pleasers out there though.
And I get it because I think I did that probably when I was younger until I realized, like, what am I apologizing for? Like, what does that mean? The other one that drives me nuts, it's my bonus one in this flag, which is, oh, my computer's working so slow.
Oh, that one kills me because then you're just there's so many things. I want to hear your part, then I'll tell you what I think if you don't say it.
So my part on your computer so slow, am I going to have to repeat myself? What kind of technology are you running over there? Did you get this down? Should I call you to double check to make sure it's accurate again? What does this mean for my life? It's not positive. A lot of times I find too, your computer's not actually working slow. You just don't know what to say. And the computer just needs to catch up a minute. So you're much better. We call it the W's, the work, weekends, and weather, right? While you're waiting for your computer, even if it is slow, even if it's archaically slow, you're working on an MS-DOS system with like a tube television and everything else. Just say, hey, what did you do this weekend? Throw the conversation off, let the computer catch up, but don't say, oh, my computer's so slow. Like, what a negative, horrible, just cringeworthy comment.
Yeah, and also to me, and I used to say this to people I worked with in my agency was it also makes the agency owner look a cheap ass to be like, well, if they can't afford good internet, what kind of agency am I into? They can't even afford Wi-Fi. And that's
The carrier web is down. It's like, what is the client doesn't need to know that or care about that, right? Like,
or it's gonna make them like, what kind of carrier are they putting with? Is this some like second-rate carrier? I don't want to be with this carrier that's website's down, even though it happens. That's
yeah,
just embarrassing.
it's just a matter of that's not how we need to that's not how we need to play it.
Duh.
Everything is great. Everything is wonderful.
Ooh,
Don't
that's a good
worry
one.
about it all. Like that's one.
That's a good one. You got me rolled on that one. That's a good one.
We probably have time for like three. So what's your other one on the list?
I'd almost have to say especially for the newbies listening, that I'm new here.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You're not, and don't tell people that. First of all, I'm new here. I don't. That's just an excuse.
like basically I'm on a live call that I shouldn't be on. Like I got
Yeah, they haven't
I know what I'm
trained.
doing. Yeah, I'm new here. It drives me nuts too because I also see people who they're not the newest employee still telling people that they're new here. We're like 2 years later, I'm new here. I'm like, you're not new here anymore.
Hey, full transparency. I don't know how many times you've told me that, and I've been here a year now, and you're like, Heath, you're not new anymore. Especially now, I'm like,
You're not our newest employee by any stretch of the mean. Like we had
no,
5 employees come in after you.
I'm like seniority at this point, sis.
You're like an OG at this point.
So yeah,
You're almost
again,
a founder.
right? Agencies are like, they have the new people, and they're like, "I'm new here." That's not gonna give any confidence, and it's not gonna help in any way, and you're trying to make your client feel comfortable, and so by you saying that, so what are some things that you tell people to say instead on that one?
The first thing is I would just literally say, "Hey, that's a great question. Let me look into that for you. What's the best way to get back in touch with you?"
Yeah.
And I'm trying to say is like, even people who've been in insurance for 30 years still don't know the answer to some things, or they need to get
Right.
it. So it's doesn't matter if you're new here or not, just a matter of that you just need a hot minute. That's all. I think the other one that I kind of struggle with is when people say, calm down. Like,
Oh, yeah, don't tell your customer to calm
well,
down.
and I think it kind of like flies out of people's mouths, right? I think as people will be like, I don't say that, but I bet people listen to recorded phone calls. You've got something spicy on the other end of the phone. Hey, sir, you mind coming down a little bit? Like, you might say it differently, right? A lot of the things that we're talking here have to do with tone, but I just want you to think if you're in a fight with your spouse, significant other,
Yes.
and sister, whatever it is, and someone says calm down to you, what does that do to you? Because to me, it sends me into like,
Oh, it fires me up.
don't tell me to
I
calm down.
I go from 6 to 10 at that point. If I'm already a
Yeah.
little upset and you tell me to calm down, I'm gonna go through the roof. And especially my spouse, anybody that knows her knows the same thing. You don't ever tell her to calm down.
Yeah.
And
No,
also the thing about, like, if you're in a hostage negotiation with a 2-year-old, don't tell them to calm down either.
no, no, calm down. Calm down can come up very condescending, and it implies that the clients are entitled to their feelings, which isn't true. They're always entitled to their feelings. Something's very upsetting. You telling them to calm down isn't going to work. But what you can say instead, because again, you're still going to get the same point across just with different words. And like I always say, use your words. Use your words.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can say, hey, Keith, man, I can understand why this is so frustrating for you. Now you've got empathy, right? Now you're on the same team. I would be frustrated too after what you've described happened. I'm grateful you called. Let's see if we can get this fixed for you. But
Right.
calm down is not, you just put the person into like catatonic crazy mode.
Exactly.
And so I will say this, like, just to kind of wrap up. I mean, we've gone through our three, there's 11 on this blog. So those of you listening, you should go check it out. But share this with your team. I am just super passionate. It boggles my mind still to this day that the number one bank of employees in independent agencies are service professionals, right? Not the girls, service professional.
Yes.
And we spend time training leaders and we spend time training producers. And then we have this whole group of people who is the heart and soul of an agency, and we don't empower them with just some of the simple things they could do that would have such a better outcome for your clients. And I'm going to tell you, it is all of the small things that make the biggest impact to drive retention. It's literally stopping and saying, okay, Heath likes to vacation here. Heath's wife's name is Stacy. He's got 3 kids. And then next time they call him, just be like, hey, Heath, how are the kids? Like that calms people down and has this authentic experience. So you don't have to use half the things we're talking about anymore because we don't train people on just the simplest little things on customer service. Like I always use it, Chick-fil-A, my pleasure.
Yes. My pleasure.
If I heard thank you, I'd be like, oh, you're gonna get fired.
Right?
If I want
And
my 15 dipping sauces, 2 of each, no problem.
exactly.
Have your
Uh
sauces.
And it sounds weird when they don't say it or they don't do it, and you've come to expect it, and even if they have to say it through gritted teeth, they're still saying it, and they're saying it with a smile, and they're happy about it. It's just you've gotten I mean, it's kinda like Delta. We've all become accustomed to God's chicken and Chick-fil-A.
Well, I actually learned about this when Andrew was in nursing homes. He'd always correct me. So I was like, "Oh, how is XYZ patient?" He's like, "They're residents."
Oh.
Like, because they're not usually you don't come into nursing homes, come back out.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be
They're resident.
proud, but he's like, "They're not patients, they're living here. Like, this is where they live. Patients are there for care, and then they're gonna go back home. This is their home."
Right.
And I was like, "That just makes it feel so much better than like, oh, they're at the nursing home. Grandma's at the
Yep.
she's a resident." And I just think like little things like that just kind of click with people. No.
Agreed completely.
Yeah. So any final thoughts on why people should consider our WOW customer service course? particularly purchasing it, the one and only Mr. Hugh Sharon, who can literally come into your agency, be on Zoom with you. You
What?
could play
Yeah.
that background in your own office if you wanted to, or you could buy a school seat from him and do it yourself. So tell everybody here why they need to do that right now, Mr. Sharon.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed, I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit and because it's almost a combination of all of our courses. There's a little bit of tidbits from time management. There's a little bit from the retention course. There's a little bit from the sales course, but it comes at from that perspective, like you said, of those service individuals and the or service staff members that are the heart and soul of the agency. So, I mean, I think there's a lot in there. It's not just, I don't know. It's all the things, as you would say, to quote Kelly Donnie Vero. It's all the things, in my opinion.
Well,
As I was going through it, it sounds super cheesy, but I was almost like, "Wow." So you aptly named the course.
wow, customer service. Yes, wow.
I literally looked at this, I was like, "Wow, there's a lot of content in here." And I was like, "That was clever, Kelly. Wow, customer service. That was clever."
And I will say this, I think even if you've been in customer service for like 20 years, right? This isn't your first rodeo. I'd still encourage people to keep an open mind about training because why not try to make your life easier, right? If a few things, a few ways to say things, some different ways to approach things makes your life better, isn't that the point? And I don't know why, but insurance somehow we get here. And you've done enough assessments now with me where it's always like, hey, is there any training you can benefit from? No, I'm good.
Right? So you're perfect. Okay.
So you are totally cool quoting someone a flood policy right now. Like
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
if somebody tells you they're renting out their swimming pool, you know what to do? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so anywho, contact Mr. Hughes Sharon about a WOW customer service course. Find him, stalk him, social media him, find his podcast, bat signal him, go to Maumelle or Arkansas, bang down the door, demand to see the mayor so that you guys have the opportunity to get a little piece of the mayor in your office.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I can do a great job. I'm not good at a lot of things, but I'm really good at this. I finally found something I'm good at in my life. So let me show you that in not a cocky way.
All right, everybody. You guys, we're signing off this podcast. We'll see you soon.